Supercharged clean makeup artistry powered by innovation. Hey, that's business, baby. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I'm not gonna buy this. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you. All right, let's zoom in for the eye look. I've got a new setup going on today, so I'm sorry if you hear any random noises. I got my microphone over here now. I've got a new LED light above my camera. I'm very excited about my new setup. I hope the quality looks a little better for you, but anyways, not what this video is about. Let's talk about the eye makeup. So I have my classic Glisten Cola wet liner for my black liner, but then I went over it with one of their iridescent liners, the shade Bewitch, which has this beautiful purple to blue shift, which is like impossible to see here, but over the black base you can see how powerful this shift is. It's so pretty. And then on my lower lash line, as a little reverse cat eye moment, I used the Glisten wet liner shade Periwinkle, which is just so pretty. And then this gorgeous purple highlight that I'm wearing is also the shade Bewitch, but from the Glisten Shapeshifter palette. And I just think this whole look goes very nicely with my little Shop Kike lace wing earrings. I feel like a little fairy princess today, but that's not what this video is about. You did not click on this video to find out all the cute iridescent things that I have on my face today. No, you clicked on this video because you, like me, have an interest in chatting about new makeup releases. I'm not sure if this one's gonna be an anti-haul yet. There's a couple of things that I'm here to discuss and I'm open-minded to, but you guys know me. I more often than not like to chat about new makeup releases than I actually do buy things. By the time I'm buying a makeup product, it's no longer new because I like to spend so much time musing about it, really marinating on it, you know, watching as many reviews as possible before I buy it. So this is the beginning stages of that. You were helping me through the first stage of even deciding whether or not I want to continue doing research on these new makeup releases, and I appreciate you so much for that. You guys always have great insights in the comments, and I can't wait to chat with you there. So if that sounds like a topic that is interesting to you and you want to talk about some new makeup releases, then I encourage you to please subscribe and keep on watching because it's coming at you right now. Okay, so the first new makeup release I want to talk to you about isn't so much a release, like the release hasn't been fully announced yet, but it's a big piece of makeup news that I want to get your take on, and that is Haus Labs coming to Sephora. So Haus Labs just announced that they are rebranding. I know a lot of people on TikTok noticed last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, where they took everything off their Instagram page and then they changed their profile picture to like this mint colored Haus Labs logo, and it's clear they're doing a rebrand, which honestly, if I may be frank with you viewer, I think they needed a rebrand. And now reading from Haus Labs post themselves, it says, introducing Haus Labs by Lady Gaga, a new brand reimagined, supercharged, clean artistry makeup powered by innovation. That sounds like a phrase that was created in a marketing room. Supercharged, clean makeup artistry powered by innovation. Feels very business to me, but business, hey, that's business, baby, and that's not what this video is about. I am very excited for this rebrand. This photo of Lady Gaga that they used for the announcement, all the chefs are kissing. Are you kidding me? This is what we wanted from Haus Labs all along. That gorgeous chartreuse shade and how she's wearing it as a brow bone highlight. Made me want to scream. It made me want to scream in such a good way. You guys know I love a colorful brow bone highlight. I think that's so fun. And then the white eyeliner giving a little negative space wing here. I want whatever this product is. I don't know if it's gonna be like a creamy eyeshadow stick or something, but who knows? Is this pre-existing product? I've never bought anything from Haus Labs before, you guys, because frankly, they've never come out with anything that I thought was all that innovative or exciting. But now they've got the word innovative in their little catchphrase here. That's not what it's called. What's a catchphrase? Mission statement. That's what it is. Now that their mission statement literally has the word innovative in it, they've got no choice but to be innovative. And I'm so glad that they're finally going to be carried in Sephora, because I always thought it was weird from the beginning that they were Amazon exclusive, and of course their website, but the Amazon exclusivity was kind of strange because I don't know about you guys, but I don't buy luxury makeup on Amazon. I'm gonna include Haus Labs in the more luxury category because I mean, they're closer to Too Faced level than they are to Maybelline level, you know, so it's definitely more luxury. So I always thought it was strange they're on Amazon because I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you I don't buy makeup on Amazon, because sometimes I do, because a lot of the drugstore makeup that I like doesn't come to my neighborhood's drugstores right away, or sometimes they don't have my shade, and it tends to be a little more expensive on Ulta sometimes. time. So hey, I'm going where the makeup's the cheapest, and sometimes that's Amazon when it comes to drugstore makeup. But you know, Haus Labs wasn't cheaper on Amazon, so I had no reason to buy it there. So I'm just excited they're finally gonna be at Sephora. You know, I can make a purchase using some Sephora points, which would be nice. And then I get to add my little samples onto, and you know, it's just greater accessibility. Not everybody buys things on Amazon. I think putting it on Sephora is a great strategy. I'm very excited about that. And yeah, I'm super excited for Haus Labs. I'm hoping that this rebranding is gonna be their second chance to like launch the way we all wanted it to initially and feel more like Lady Gaga, you know, to just feel more like her bold artistry behind the brand. And I'm very excited. So let me know what you guys think in the comments about the new Haus Labs rebrand. Alrighty, the next new makeup release I wanted to talk about is the Glam Light and Frosted Flakes collab. It's happening. It's all happening. You know what, now that I think about it, I was about to say the first cereal collabs happened, but didn't Morphe collab with Lucky Charms back on St. Patrick's Day? Dang, General Mills is putting in the work. Or no, I think Frosted Flakes is Kellogg's. Wow, look at this. All the cereal brands getting in on the makeup industry. Hey, the makeup industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, so I don't blame them for wanting to get in on it. But anyway, let's look at this objectively. We all know how I feel about intellectual property collabs. Yeah, so I mean, they definitely took the colors from the cereal box and put them in the eyeshadow palette, so I guess in that sense, good job. I don't know, man. The shimmers on this look really pretty. There's a couple of shades in there I think look slightly repetitive, but at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of times with these intellectual property collabs, it's just about pulling colors from that intellectual property and not so much about like an eyeshadow palette that's like logical for a makeup lover who is looking to expand their collection in this area. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, I guess if I were looking to add more blues to my collection, this would be a good option because there are a good amount of blues there, but at that point, I'd rather buy an all blue eyeshadow palette, you know? I personally would not spend $35 on a palette inspired by a cereal box that doesn't add anything to my collection, you know? They have a loose highlighter that literally looks like a bowl of cereal, which I do think that's very funny. I don't really wear loose highlighters a whole lot anymore, so I don't need it for that sense. It's cute. I'm not gonna knock this collection too much. It is very cute. They did a great job with the packaging. I mean, 10 out of 10 for packaging, Glam Light. And I've heard that their eyeshadow formula is really good too, so I'm excited to watch other people create looks with them. Also, are there any like Frosted Flakes stands? I guess it's kind of preying on nostalgia too. Like a lot of us grew up eating these cereals. I know Frosted Flakes is still around, but like you see something like this and it makes you think of warm fuzzy childhood memories of eating Frosted Flakes while watching cartoons on Saturday morning. Like, it's doing it for me nostalgia wise, not enough to make me want to buy it, you know, but it's certainly cute, made me smile to look at, but it's gonna be an easy anti-haul for me. There's so many intellectual property collabs happening right now. I know that's just like a thing that happens all the time now, but there's definitely moments where I'll be scrolling through Trend Mood getting ready for these videos where I just feel so like a character in a dystopian young adult novel where I'm like, oh yes, of course, the Hip Dot and Cup of Noodles collab. Oh, of course, and then the ColourPop and Star Wars collab. Ah yes, and then the Mac and Stranger Things collab. Like, there's just so many intellectual property collabs, and as just like a makeup lover who doesn't really collect things like that, it just leaves me feeling a little bit bummed out, you know? I want makeup that's just good makeup. Just like make a fun eyeshadow color story. It doesn't need to be associated with an intellectual property. It's like I was saying with the Frosted Flakes collab, I feel like a lot of times they just pull colors from packaging, or they're just like pulling colors from the movie poster, you know? Like that's kind of like with the Star Wars palette. I feel like that's just kind of like pulling colors from the movie poster, and it's mostly just like kind of a neutral eyeshadow palette. I will say with the Star Wars palette, there's a couple of really cool looking shades in there that are like marbled. I know Huda Beauty was doing that a while ago too, but these are different than like the typical marbling you see when it's just two colors. Like these look like literal planets. Like they are really pretty. If ColourPop ever releases like stuff like that in a Super Shock or like a single pan, I would be so interested in checking those out because I know that, here's the deal, I know they're a gimmick. I know once you mix them all together, they're not like multi-chromes, you know? Even though it's showing you multiple colors, like they're not gonna show up like multi-chromes on the eyes, palettes. They're just gonna like turn into one color, but man, are they pretty to look at. And that's okay too. Sometimes it's okay to just buy things because they're pretty to look at. Like, no judgment on this side of the screen. You spend your money however you want to. So I do like that in the ColourPop Star Wars palette, but you know, it's also $24. I feel like ColourPop's prices keep going up and up and up, and a lot of that has to do with the intellectual properties. You know, anytime you put an intellectual property onto makeup packaging, like the Star Wars logo and like pictures and all of that, I'm sure they had to pay or come to some sort of like agreement about them using those images. And I wouldn't even be surprised if like Disney themselves is benefiting from this or getting some sort of kickback on sales. I don't know if it's a one-time fee or it's like sold per palette, so maybe that's why the price has to be higher. Like, I don't doubt that there's not a reason the price has to be higher. That is not just ColourPop being like, oh, we're gonna make it more expensive to make it more expensive. But at the end of the day, it's more expensive. And I personally, like I said, I'm not a collector, so I'm not willing to pay that higher price tag just because something has an intellectual property on it. Let's see, are there any more IP collabs? There's so many, oh my gosh. The Stranger Things collab with MAC does look kind of cute. I like that they went very colorful. A lot of times, we all know how MAC likes to do a collab where they just release like an all neutral color story and are like, whatever, you know? So I like that they went colorful with this, especially because Stranger Things, you know, takes place in the 80s, which is just like such a vibrant era, especially in makeup. So I do appreciate that both of these palettes have some color to them, and I like that they went with one like darker palette, you know, clearly playing into like the Demogorgon and the Upside Down and all that stuff. And then they have their Property of Hawkins Tigers, you know, their little more school time palette there, which has like some purples, blues, and greens. They're very cute. Did they say prices? No, I don't see prices on it yet. I mean, I know MAC's expensive. Hey, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I'm not gonna buy this. I'm definitely not gonna buy this because I don't need any of the colors, but I do at least appreciate them doing some color. You know, if you're gonna do an intellectual property collab, at least do it good. At least go all in on the color stories and don't just, you know, that's one thing, credit where credit is due, I'm gonna give to these makeup brands. I feel like a couple years ago, even a year ago, we were constantly seeing intellectual property makeup collab that's an all neutral eyeshadow palette with like one pop of color that makes sense for that intellectual property. Whereas nowadays, I feel like makeup brands have taken the note and are starting to really dive into the color stories and give more colors that make sense for the show and aren't as focused on like just selling a neutral eyeshadow palette. I feel like by this point, everybody's got a neutral eyeshadow palette, you know? And don't get me wrong, they still have a lot of neutrals in them. Like, they're still keeping that in the back of the mind that everyone wants at least a couple of neutrals. Not everyone, but you know, a lot of people just want a couple of neutrals, but we're seeing more color, and baby, if that doesn't make me happy. So yeah. All right, next let's talk about a new Morphe release. How long has it been since I talked about a Morphe new makeup release? They're just boring. They're so boring so much of the time. This is boring too. I'm just talking about it because I haven't talked about Morphe in a while, and that is their new Gilded Desert collection. Very cute name, theme. Bored. And I know I'm not a neutral makeup lover, and I'm not even trying to say like, I don't like these colors, that's why it's boring. I'm saying it's boring because it's so much eyeshadow in so many repetitive shades. It's just baffling to me that Morphe still makes these 35 palettes. I mean, clearly they sell. I'm sure there's people that's buying them. I just feel like unless you're a makeup artist who's like constantly using them and going through them a lot, I just don't think you need this in your collection, you know? Like, if you really zoom in on this eyeshadow palette, take a good look at it, you can see so many repetitive shades that I'm sure have mild, like very slight undertone differences, but is it enough to justify this whole palette? You know, I don't think so. If I'm gonna see a mega palette that's trying to give you options of like various gradients of a shade, I would so much rather, I know I talk about it freaking all the time, but see something like the Blend Bunny Blends palette or their Dollhouse palette or their Surge palette that gives you all of the gradients of a shade without making it repetitive. Like, there are no repetitive shades in this palette. I've used every single shade, so I can tell you that for sure. I even tried to prove this palette wrong the first time I did a review with it, trying to like use both these shades and that shade, and I thought they were gonna disappear into each other and just all look the same on the eye, and they didn't. They're all very distinctly different. Whereas looking at this Morphe palette, or really any of their 35 pan palettes, there's just so many repetitive shades. Even looking at the arm swatches, you can see like the shades looking the same on the skin. You can tell they've really been edited to like try to make those undertones pop, really let you know they're not all the same, we promise. And like, yeah, swatched out like that, but Why don't you put them on the eyes together? Show me what they look like on the eyes next to each other. I don't know. Please, like, state your case. If you're someone who's like constantly buying these and you feel like they're worth it, let me know why. Like I said, no judgment in how you spend your money. Just for me, this is very impractical. It's gonna take up a lot of space and has a lot of repetitive shades. I would so much rather them condense a palette like this into like 20 shades. And I think they very easily could do that because this is just excessive to me. I really thought we were gonna leave these 35 pan palettes in 2021, and then in 2021 I thought we were gonna leave it in 2020, and in 2020 I thought we were gonna leave it in 2019, but they're still making them in 2022. So Morphe, I'm anti-hauling this. I'm not gonna buy it. Ooh, we forgot another intellectual property collab. Essence is collaborating with Jurassic World. They put a dinosaur paw print on the eyeshadow, which I do think is cute. It's got a couple cute shades. I like the dark evergreen and I like the minty sparkle, but it's just kind of a very random color story. It doesn't really fit together if you ask me. The highlighter, I'm sure, is fine. It literally just says RRR on it. RRR. Oh my gosh, XD RAR. What is it? 2008? Yeah, this is not one of the best intellectual property collabs we've looked at today. This one feels a little bit just like we put it in pink packaging and slapped some dinosaurs on things, and that's the Jurassic World collab. Hey, I wasn't gonna buy this even if the packaging was good, so we know I'm anti-hauling it, but let me know if you tried or are going to try something from the Essence and Jurassic World collab. Alright, you guys, I'm scooching back towards the center of the frame, and you know what that means. It's the end of the video. Those are all of the makeup products that I am anti-hauling this month, but I would love to know what you guys are anti-hauling or what you're hauling. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of these new makeup releases, anything I didn't talk about today. Usually if I don't talk about something, it's because I just was so bored by it. I didn't even want to dedicate the time, except for Morphe. I made the time for your boring release today. But yeah, I'd love to chat about all the other new makeup releases with you in the comments, so let me know what you're thinking about. And check out my description box for all of the makeup details if you like any of the makeup on my face today. Also, my description box, I'll have a bunch of Black Lives Matter resources to support the Asian American community, resources to support the LGBTQ+ community, and resources to support Ukraine. So please check out those links if you haven't yet. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!